Hey, it's me, Paco, and welcome back to Bad Witch Books. Hey guys, today we're going to be going over my April reads, what I read in April. Okay, so in April I read about 8 books, so it's a little less than I wanted to. It's just towards the end of the month, I kind of had a reading slump. I would have finished the second Mistborn book in April, but I went to Y'all West at the end of the month, and I didn't read much when I went. So yeah, like I said, so statistic-wise, I read 8 books. Out of 8 of those books, I could do math, so 6 were young adult, 2 were adult out of the 8 books. 6 were fantasy, and 2 were contemporary. One was a contemporary, young adult, and the other one was a historical romance. So yeah, so let's get into the book. So the first book I read in April was Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor. I listened to the audiobook of this. This is the sequel to Daughter of Smoke and Bone, and this is about Karu, who basically after the events of the last book now knows about her past. And then there was also Alvika, I forget how to pronounce his name is. I listened to this at the beginning of the month, and the stuff he has to do with the angels. It was alright. I enjoyed this a lot better than the first book, and it was cute. The like interesting stuff Karu had to do in this book was really cool, and seeing her growth. So yeah, I'm excited for the third book. So I'm giving this it's 3.5 stars. So the first one was a 3, this is a 3.5. Next book I finished in April is my favorite book of the month. My top book of the month, and that is Daughter of the Moon Goddess. This is the Fairy Loot edition. This is by Su Lin Tan. This is a adult fantasy. This takes place in a Chinese-inspired fantasy world where Xing Yin is the daughter of the goddess Chang'e, daughter of the moon goddess, and has actually been kept in secret. And one day Xing Yin activates her magical powers, and it makes the I think it's the immortal. It's basically the emperor. The celestial kingdom, it piques their awareness. They sense her power, and so she has to go on the run because she doesn't want to get her mom in trouble. And she basically ends up in the celestial kingdom where the emperor and the empress lives. And through shenanigans, it becomes really good friends with the prince. He doesn't know who she is, and at first she doesn't know who he is, and then things happen, and she just tries to free her mother. Really good, really fast-paced fantasy book. It's a big book too. It's about 500 pages. Really enjoyed it. It was beautifully written. The romance was really nice. The magic, the fighting was awesome. 5 out of 5 stars. I'm excited for the sequel, which is supposed to come out this year as well. So the next book I read was Blood Scion by Deobra Filai. I'm terrible with names. We all know this. This is about Salone. She is a girl who is I think they're called Sicon. So she is a descendant of the god of fire, the Orisha god of fire, and her kingdom has been taken over by this group of people, and they are trying to wipe out all the Scions because they have power. And she is forced to, because all the kids are conscripted into this military to try to take out her own people. This is very violent. I would read the trigger warnings. I'll read the trigger warnings out to you. So this book is inspired by real life horrors endured by child soldiers and the war on children in particular. Therefore, tackles themes of war, violence, and sexual assault. Please read with care. So, like I said, be careful when you read into this. It is very descriptive of violence, sexual assault, and things like that. But really good, 4.5 stars. That ending has me shook. I need to know what happens. And our girl has fire magic, so I automatically love it. But yeah, it was really good. I'm looking at the stack of books. So the next book I read was the adult historical romance, and that is Something Fabulous by Alexis Hall. So this is about Duke Valentine. He is trying to marry this girl, Miss Abrella Tartlin, because his father wanted him, their parents had like kind of planned it, like they should get married, and he wants to respect his dead father's wishes, so he goes to marry this girl. She's not feeling it, and instead of saying I'm not going to marry you, she like runs away. And so in the middle of the night, her twin brother is like, hey, my sister, she went on the run because he proposed. We have to go find her because something bad could happen to her. And so they force him to go, and shenanigans ensue, and he ends up actually falling for, and it's not really spoilers because it's in the description, he ends up actually kind of liking her twin brother Bonnie more than them, and they start having a thing. But this book was a 4-star. It could have been a 5 or high. It could have been higher than I rated it. But the main female character, what's her name? Miss Apirl, was so irritating. Every time they tried to say, we don't even want to marry you anymore, or like, let's talk, she'd just run away, and it was so irritating. She was so damn dramatic, and that's coming from me, who I'm dramatic as fuck, but still, it was just really irritating. And yeah, but it was really good. I enjoyed it. The Regency romance. I read this when I was watching Bridgerton, so it was like the vibe I wanted. But yeah, I might read more historical romance. So next book I read was This Is Ever After by F.T. Lukens. This is basically like a Dungeons and Dragons inspired fantasy, and it is about a boy, Eric. He is the chosen one. He has just defeated the evil, and it's basically, what do we do now? He puts on the crown to try to become king until they can find a heir, like before this like villain, leader, dictator, tyrant, like the heir before he was supposed to be in, and they can't. And then he finds out, because he put on the crown and claimed himself king, he has to get married before his 18th birthday or he'll die or disappear, I think is the actual words. And so he has to like try to find his soulmate, or just someone to marry. And he like tries to go through his gang of friends, like to see like if they might fall in love with him. And he clearly has a feelings for one person on his team, the mage on the team named Matt. And let's look at the 2.5 stars. If he just told him the truth, it would have been better. The problem would have been solved after day one. It was so irritating because miscommunication personified in that book. And I really did like their first book, and I liked what I read in this. It's just the miscommunication trope was like all over the place, so I had to give it a 2.5. Sadly, did not enjoy it as much as I wish I did, but I will be reading more from them because I really did like their first book, and I would have liked it if it just wasn't for that miscommunication trope. Next book I read this month was This Woven Kingdom by Tahara Mafi. This is about a girl. You'd think I would know their names. Lizette, I think is how we pronounce her name. It's been a minute since I listened to the audiobook. But she is a djinn, and she's kind of living in hiding because of some secrety stuff. And she runs into the prince. He thinks she's a spy, and shenanigans go through. It was written beautifully, and the ending was really good. I just wish that it didn't take so long. It felt like we were in the build-up for this. Like, I read this for my book club, for a book club I go to in person, and I think they said it best that this felt like the longest prologue ever. So yeah, I'm excited. I might continue with the series. The cover's beautiful, but we'll see. So the next book I read was The Lost Dreamer by Liz Herrera. This is about these two girls. One is named Indir, and the other is Soya. They are both dreamers, so they have the ability to enter the dream when they sleep, which is like very much, if you watch Avatar, it's got the spirit world vibes, how like you can go to it and get answers and stuff like that. That's how I would describe it. It's much different, but it's kind of similar. But they are able to go into the dream, and things happen because Indir is part of these like priestesses, and the new king is coming because the former king died, and his son is coming back into the kingdom, and he's messing shit up. He's not a good guy. He's planning to mess stuff up. And Soya, who at the same time is kind of been in hiding with her mother, Like they've been going from place to place, and she has this like protection amulet that if she takes, her mom warns her never to take off. She takes it off and shit happens. I kind of saw the plot twist coming at the end, but I enjoyed it. It was a good written book, and I'm excited to see what happens next. So the last book I read this month, I do not have the physical book. I will one day, but here it is. It is called Things We Couldn't Say, and this is a contemporary young adult book. It is about this kid who his mom abandons him when he's little, because he's a high schooler now, but his mom abandons him when he's a kid, and it just like gives him a lot of trauma, abandonment issues and shit like that. And now that he's like a junior in high school, he's like met this guy that he kind of likes on his basketball team, and things are kind of going the right way. His mom comes back into the picture, and it just kind of throws him off, and it deals a lot with just like abandonment trauma and shit like that. And it was really good, written really well, really cute, sweet book. Cute might be a not great way to say about dealing with his trauma, but I really liked it. 4 stars, and it's just really sweet. But yeah, that is the books I read for April. What did you guys read in April? Was your top book? Like for me, I say Daughter of the Moon Goddess gets the Paco April book pick of the month. But yeah, like I said, comment, like if you haven't liked already, subscribe so you can see more and more, and I will see you guys next Friday. I post videos every Friday, and then I do reading sprints on Monday, so I'll see you guys then.